Coming up, a new date has been set for the rapture, September 23, 2024. This date confirms the rapture is around the corner after April 8. This is TIBP Media, where we put Jesus back in the center of prophecy.
Out there that say the book of Revelation, it's just a book of past and it's not future. A preterist is someone who says, I believe the book of Revelation was finished in 70 AD. The rest of the book is all future, it's not even for us, we don't even read it, it's all for after the rapture. The rest of the book is all future, it's not even for us, we don't even read it. The rest of the book is all future, it's not even for us, we don't even read it, it's all for after the rapture.
The truth is, friends, the book of Revelation does not teach preterism or futurism. The Protestant reformers uses the historicist method of interpretation. They boldly preach that the Antichrist of prophecy is none other than the papacy. Martin Luther wrote to Spalatin on February 24, 1520, I am practically cornered and can hardly doubt anymore that the Pope is really the Antichrist. Philip Melanchthon, he says that the Roman Pontiff with his whole order and kingdom is very Antichrist. John Calvin was the great leader of the Reformation in Geneva, says, I deny the see, the papacy, to be apostolical, wherein naught is seen but a shocking apostasy. I deny him to be the vicar of Christ, who in furiously persecuting the gospel. John Knox, the great leader of the Reformation in Scotland, he too believed that the papacy was the predicted Antichrist of Daniel. John Wesley, the great founder of Methodism, states concerning the papacy, he is in an emphatical sense the man of sin. John Wycliffe declared the papacy as the Antichrist because of his vocal opposition. Pope Gregory XI condemned John Wycliffe as a heretic. The Protestant reformers unanimously believe in historicism and points to the Pope as the Antichrist. So why is that Protestants today teaches that the Antichrist is a future renegade individual that will rule the third temple? Where did this chart come from? The Roman Catholic Church called a church council, which was held at the Italian city of Trent. It was the avowed purpose of this council to arrest the growing Protestant Reformation. In 1534, Saint Ignatius of Loyola founded the Society of Jesus, also known as the Jesuits. Besides providing the papacy with a formidable secret police force, the Jesuits also trained an elite of theological scholars whose avowed purpose was to overthrow Protestantism. Preterism comes from an individual called Luis de Alcazar, a Jesuit from Spain, pointing at Antiochus Epiphanes as the Antichrist. And futurism originates with another Jesuit scholar named Francisco Ribera, Roman Catholic scholar named G.H. Hiscock. This is what he wrote. The futuristic school founded by the Jesuit Ribera in 1591 looks for Antichrist Babylon and a rebuilt temple in Jerusalem at the end of the Christian dispensation. This Catholic scholar says, this futuristic school was founded by the Jesuit Ribera in 1591, and he's saying that this system looks for the Antichrist and the rise of the rebuild of the third temple. This teaching, this chart, is a counter-interpretation of the Jesuits to remove the incriminating finger to the papacy as the Antichrist.
The protest is over. The protest is over.
Because of this interpretation, friends, Satan's plan succeeded. Majority of the Protestants today have ended their protest and bowed to the papal Antichrist and embraced Rome. Do you not hear this in the news? This is very sad, but true. The undeniable love affair between the Pope and the Protestants are here. Islam and the Antichrist, Hindus and the Antichrist, Buddhism and all the world will wander after the papal beast. Revelation 13, verse 3.
It's a picture of a woman. I'm going to have to draw a stick figure because I'm not very good at this. Who has all these planets above her. She's got the moon at her feet. And it's talking about something. It says it's a wonder in heaven. Well, there's people on the internet have gotten these computer programs that show the stars, and they said, well, the only things we know that are in the heaven are the constellations. So they've gone to the constellation Virgo, which kind of looks something like this, and I'm not good again at drawing, and they found that the only time in the history of the world where there's anything in the stars that look like what it's talking about here is September 23rd, 2017, when you have this woman having the moon down here, having those 12 stars around her head, and it looks like that's exactly what the Apostle John saw in this vision.
Should we look for the constellation in Virgo in interpreting Revelation 12? Dear friends, mark this. Revelation 12 has nothing to do with constellations, Virgo, and September 23. In a vision, John sees a great sign in heaven. Something special and remarkable is shown here. The Greek word Simeon, sign, denotes a symbolic presentation of a real object. This sign is a woman arrayed with the sun standing on the moon and having a garland of 12 stars on her head. She travails in labor and is about to give birth to a child. Using the word sign for this woman, John shows that she is not an actual woman but a symbol of a spiritual reality, not constellations. A woman in the Bible is a symbol of God's people, whether faithful to God or apostate. Clothed with the sun and standing on the moon. The sun as the source of light stands for the gospel, John chapter 8 verse 12 and chapter 12 verse 46. The moon reflects the light of the sun. Therefore, the woman stands on the revelation of the Old Testament that reflects the light of the gospel. The 12 stars on her head stands for 12 tribes of Israel, as well as the 12 apostles, not September 23. In this part of the vision, the woman represents Old Testament Israel, bringing the Messiah into the world.
When we get into the book of Revelation, we have to talk about the 144,000. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount of Zion, and with him 144,000, having their father's name written in their foreheads. Now, as you begin to read through here, you find out who these are. In fact, guess who they are? Turn over to Revelation chapter 7. They're Jews. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah, Reuben, Gad, Asher, Nephilim, Manasseh, Simon, Levi, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin. These are your 144,000.
So the rapturists believe that the 144,000 in Revelation 7 and Revelation 14 are literal Jews. Is this true? Absolutely not. There are several reasons why the tribe mentioned in Revelation 7 can't possibly be literal Israelite tribes. The Old Testament reveals that 10 of the 12 tribes were carried away by the Assyrians in 722 BC. History records that long before the time of Jesus, some of the 10 tribes returned to Samaria after intermarrying with the Assyrians. Their descendants, known as Samaritans, were hated by the Jews because they were no longer pure Israelites in blood or religion. In fact, because the 10 tribes had been so thoroughly scattered around the world and absorbed by their host nations, today a person would be hard-pressed to find even one pure descendant from the tribe of Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, or Simeon, much less 12,000 of them. Another strong clue that Revelation is not speaking of literal Jews, Israelite tribes in the Old Testament. The 12 tribes were very unequal in population numbers. Judah was very large, while Benjamin was very small. God divided the promised land in proportion to each tribe's needs. But the 144,000 Revelation is composed of 12,000 per tribe, right across the board. God's promises to literal Israel now apply to spiritual Israel. And if ye be Christ's, then are ye Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. Galatians 3 verse 29. Rapturists emphasizes the importance of literal Israel because they believe that Israel will rebuild the third temple that will usher in the Antichrist. Dear friends, Jesus is truth, and God wants us to worship in spirit and truth, John 4:24. And the truth will set us free. Dear friends, the protest is not over. Let us exalt Jesus as the center of prophecy and our great hope in this life. Kindly type in the comment section, Jesus is my truth. Thank you, dear friends. Kindly share this timely video to all. and may we continue to proclaim truth in Bible prophecy.